Hi, friends. Happy Friday. Emily here with Anxious Baddies Book Club. I am here today to talk to you about a book that I finally finished and a series that I've also finally finished. Clockwork Princess, part of the Infernal Devices series by Cassandra Clare. So, this series includes three books. Starts with the Clockwork Angel, followed by Clockwork Prince, and then ending with Clockwork Princess. So I have done previous reviews on these two books, so if you are curious about that, they should be in the history not that far. So let's get into my review of Clockwork Princess. Okay, so I had mentioned in my last review that I had started this one as I was reviewing Clockwork Prince. And I had mentioned that in this one at the beginning, Mr. Lightwood became a worm uh, because he had demon pox and the demon pox had gone untreated. So he turned into a worm, a demon worm to be specific, and went on like a killing spree. And so Gabriel had come to the Institute, fetched his friends, and then killed his father. Um, and then after that, Jessamine was to come back to the Institute from the City of Bones. But as she arrives at the Institute, she ends up dying because it was kind of all a elaborate trap by Mortmain. So he had some of his automatons there ready to fight and stuff like that. So she did end up passing away on the steps of the Institute. Um, then after that, Consul Josiah Wayland, who is a very misogynistic pain in the ass, is trying to have the Institute taken away from Charlotte. He doesn't believe that a woman should be running the Institute, thinks that this stuff should be ran by men and all that fun stuff. So he approaches Gabriel and his brother to spy on Charlotte and get evidence, even if it has to be fabricated, to deem why she would be unfit to um, run the Institute, to have her taken off. But they discuss it and then basically send Consul Wayland very absurd things that they are seeing from her, which are completely untrue, but just a little humorous, to kind of throw him off his tracks. And then obviously Consul Wayland picks up on that and is like, no, be serious about this, blah, blah, blah. I need, either some sort of proof or fabricated proof that she is unfit. And so then when he realizes that both of them, both brothers together, are not going to do what he is asking for, he approaches Gabriel separately and uh, uses the state as a way to try and get him to do what he wants. Later on the line, Gabriel admits to Charlotte that he was approached and he was contemplating it, but in the end decided not to, just because even though there was some animosity between the both of them, I think Gabriel kind of realizes that Consul Wayland is barking up the wrong tree and that Charlotte is a good fit for the Institute to run it. But towards the end, Consul Wayland summons everyone into a meeting to basically try to have her removed on his own without the Lightwood's help. and then he gets decapitated by a automaton. So, um, joke's on him, I guess. So throughout the book, as well as we learn from the last two books, Jem is reliant on Yin Fen, which is uh, a drug that he had become addicted to against his will as he was younger. So he needs the Yin Fen to live, but it is killing him slowly. Mortmain knows about that and has basically seized all of the Yin Fen that they are able to get. So there's really no hope for Jem to live much longer, especially since he had run out of his stash of Yin Fen to basically become a better, livelier person for Tessa. Because as we know from the second book, they are engaged to be married. But as the story goes on, Tessa ends up getting kidnapped by Mrs. Black, the one who had kidnapped her in the first place in Clockwork Angel. And so Mrs. Black is holding on to Tessa for Mortmain. And Jem basically tells Will to go after her to save her. And while he is out doing that, Jem tells the rest of them to stop looking for a cure for him. Then he goes to the Silent Brothers, and then becomes a Silent Brother. And that turns him immortal as long as he is a Silent Brother. But at the end, there is a cure for him, and he turns himself back into a mortal. But as Jem is a Silent Brother, he does break their engagement with Tessa and gives Will his blessing to court her, and then they get married and they have kids, and Will grows old because he's mortal, and Tessa stays her same age because she is a warlock. Um, which also brings up, we do find out what Tessa is. We learn that she is part shadow hunter and part demon. Um, and throughout the books, they say that should not be able to happen because a shadow hunter and a demon, whereas they may produce a baby, the baby does not live outside the womb and is born stillborn. But because Tessa's mother, she did not know she was a shadow hunter and never got her first runes and stuff like that. So without her mother having the runes put on her and stuff like that, that is how she was able to carry to term Tessa, and then Tessa was able to live outside. So yeah. And then we have Cecily, Will's sister. She came to the Institute on a mission to basically bring Will home to her parents. But as the longer she stayed there, she has decided to become a shadow hunter and all that fun stuff. So she actually decides to stay with Will and everything like that. And then Sophie becomes a shadow hunter. And as we know from the series, Sophie is the housemaid, or the institute maid is what it's called. And you can't really just become a shadow hunter all willy-nilly and stuff like that. You have to go through a ceremony, and then you have to drink some sort of something or whatever to become a shadow hunter. But she chooses to become a shadow hunter because she has fallen in love with one of the Lightwood brothers. But now that I've kind of given the rundown on that, now that I have finally finished this series, I am happy to move on to my next series, which is the a Never After series by Emily McIntyre. So this one starts off with Hooked, and then followed by Scarred and Wretched, and then so on. There's 5 books in this series in total. So that is what I will be talking to you guys next. is going to be this book and then this series. If you have read this book, what did you think about the book or the series? Is it on your TBR list? If you have any suggestions for me as what I should read, let me know as well. And also, if, as always, if you have stuck around this long, I greatly appreciate it. I hope to hear what you thought in the comments. But I hope you guys have a great weekend.
Oh, we're book club besties, lost in every tale, living 1,000 lives in a paperback sale. From the first word to the last page, we always want more, flipping